Hi, it's Dave Mutton, the UK distributor for Lucky John. Today we're on a Midlands canal and we're going to show you some tips on how to fish the canals, primarily for perch and zander. I'm joined today by some of our team members. Behind me I've got Ian Whitaker, who's our pro staff team manager.
Wow, that's a nice perch.
Nice perch. Justin ASHBY, who's the newest addition to our team.
Lovely.
Lovely, and what was that on?
It was on Tioga again.
Yeah. And behind the camera I've got Guy Elson, who's our main media guru and all-round filmer, editor and general dog's body. As I say, we're on the Midlands Canal, fairly coloured water, and we're going to show you typically how we fish these canals and our approach. I will qualify it by saying everything that we say is our opinions, our experience, what we do. And there's differences between us in how we fish. We're not saying this is a definite, this is how you must do it. But hopefully you'll take some tips out of what we say today, you'll take some advice on board, and hopefully it improves your fishing on the canals, because that's what it's all about. So first thing I want to cover as a tip is the line and the leader you use. Obviously we're using braided main lines, quite fine diameter lines. Here's one of my setups here. You probably won't even see much of that line. What I'm using on there, it's a little Van Rex 4-strand. It's an area trout line. I use that just for dibbling down the edge. It's a very fine line. It's also good for sort of casting across as well. That is the line I tend to use the most. It's very fine diameter, doesn't pick up so much in the wind. You get good control over the light lures and jig heads we're going to be using. The other line I use is an 8-strand, which is slightly heavier diameter and breaking strain. This is 0.12 and this is 5.2 kilos. That is loaded up on a second rod here, which I use for drop shotting. Most of my work on the canals is on little light jig heads. Where you've got big structure, locks, bridges, wider areas, something like that, I will often use a drop shot as well.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's all right.
Actually better than I thought. You filming?
Yep. There we go. Is that on the hoggy shrimp?
This is on the hoggy shrimp again, on the drop shot. There we go. Nice little perch going back. Particularly locks, the bottom side of a lock, you get a lot of debris accumulate there, branches, trees and all that kind of stuff. That heavier line helps me pull out with some of them, stops me losing tackle. Also, because I fish it on a drop shot, so I'm tight on the bottom and fishing on a tight line, I can get away with using something slightly heavier. I don't need that very light line. Leaders would be typically anything between 4 and 6 pound fluorocarbon. I've got 5 loaded on there at the moment. If I'm fishing really light, I will go down to 4. If it's particularly snaggy or particularly big fish, I might go up as high as 6. Obviously you want to carry a variety of colours, sizes and patterns. Midlands canals are usually quite murky affairs, so I tend to use a lot of darker colours. Things like that. That's a baby rockfish, 2.4 inch in a colour called purple plum. That's an excellent lure. And the same with another lure, the Tioga. This is probably my favourite lure for fishing on the canals. That's a 2.4 inch version. I fish it a lot in the 2 inch as well. Excellent lure, that is. Very flexible, It really seems to work, and particularly that colour, the purple plum. Another favourite colour of mine is Nagoya shrimp, which is a sort of motor oil type colour, and I'll often switch over to ocean pearl, the white colour. Particularly good Zander colour, that is. As you can see, most of the selection there, with the exception of a couple of pinks, they're all fairly drab colours because they tend to work well on the Midlands canals. This is a box I use. As you can see, I've got all bits of old leader and all sorts, and rigs still made up in here. So this is an actual, you know, box I use. Creature baits as well, and varieties of them I tend to use. This selection here is a little bit brighter. These are fantastic little things. The alien bug, little 1-inch lure with a nice big paddle on it. That's something a little bit different. And then you've got your more traditional type creature baits like the rock claw. They work really well on the canals as well. If you want to go real finesse, sometimes in the matches when they turn into sort of wasping affairs, particularly in the middle of winter, you have to go right down in size, and I've got a few there. Little baby rockfish in 1.4 inch. It's a tiny little thing. We've got some of the salt worms. This is one of Ian Whitaker's favourites. He absolutely loves them for wasping for perch. They're a great little lure. And king leech is another one, similar to the saltworm, but it's more ribbed and slightly longer. Great little lures for just micro dibbling down the edge, particularly when you're targeting smaller perch. Of course, they don't just catch smaller perch. We've had, you know, several matches where the bigger fish tend to be responding to small lures as well. So it's always worth carrying some of the finesse gear with you. Right, so I'm just dibbling down the edge now. All I'm doing is lifting up. I'm walking very slowly. I'm just holding, occasional little bounce, and just drop it down onto the bottom. You just see you get a touch of slack. Lift it up. The key is not to give it too much movement. In the summer, when the perch are really active and buzzing around, you can fish a bit higher, a bit faster, a bit more bouncy, but the fish aren't massively active today, so it's more about just lifting it up, a couple of little bounces, and lower it down. I'm always watching the rod tip. Quite often you can see a little bit of movement in the line before you actually feel it. They don't always just take it straight down, especially if they hit it when it's kind of on the bottom. They'll move away from you, so you'll just see a little bit of movement in the line and you'll feel it go. Always try and keep in contact with it. If you fish too light and you're going too fast, what will happen is it will come right behind you like that. If that happens, you've either got to increase the weight or slow down a little bit. You want to keep it as close to the vertical as you can. You'll see my leader, the length of my leader is pretty much about the depth of the water. That way I use the knot between the braid and the fluoro as a good indicator as well of changes in depth. So that's just under the water. You know, if all of a sudden it's above the water, I know it's shallowing up slightly. It can be a quick indicator of any slight changes in depth, particularly when it gets a little bit deeper. It can be holding areas, somewhere to explore a bit more in a bit more detail. You'll always want to lift it up fairly regularly. Just make sure you haven't picked up any slight bit of debris that you're not feeling as well, because you know you don't want a little bit of weed or a little bit of leaf on there. Often you feel it, sometimes you don't. The other thing I would say as well is try and keep a little bit of extension in your arm. If you've got your arm too far back like this and you get a hit, it can be difficult to strike. Because you're fishing literally right under the rod tip, you know you'll get the hit and you've got to strike pretty quickly. So you just want a little bit of extension. You don't have to have it bolt outright like that, but have your handle far enough away from you So as soon as you get the hit, it's quite easy just to lift into the fish. By using these thin braids and thin fluoros, it cuts through the water quite nicely, so you're not getting a lot of drag on it as you move along. You get too much drag, it forces the bait up. The other thing I would say with dibbling is try different areas away from the bank. Sometimes the fish will be right tight into the bank like this. You know, you catch them right at the edge where they're just sheltering against the edge. Sometimes they'll be a bit further out, particularly if you've got a bit of a shelf. If you've got any depth changes and it gets a bit deeper, a little bit further out. I mean, as you can see in this, there's a little bit of depth change there. See, that's just on the bottom now. You can just see it's just getting a bit of slack. That's tight. Move it out a bit further. It's just marginally deeper, not a lot. But sometimes where it does slope off, particularly where you've got a bit of a pronounced shelf, the fish can often sit at the bottom of that shelf, particularly the zander. They're not always tight against the edge. So it's worth exploring. So the plan for today is to have a look at how we fish. We're just going to mooch along the canal, showing a little bit of how we dibble, casting. I'm going to do a little bit of drop shotting at one point into one of the locks, show you how I approach that, and we're just hopefully going to catch a few fish for the video. So hope you enjoy it, guys.
Okay guys, so I am just trying to catch up with everybody else, and I'm doing the old classic. I am trolling the edge of this canal. Really great way of picking up fish quickly. I probably wouldn't go this fast normally, but like, I'm just trying to catch up with the rest of the team. Yeah. Go. So Zander straight off the mark. Oh, he's an alright one as well. Look at that. Beauty. And that, my friends, was on the Tioga.
Yeah, just a little zander.
Awake. Oh, there's another one. Oh, I missed that one. Oh, and there it is. Fish. He's still trying to get it. There we go. That's a slightly better fish. Net this one, I think. Oh, there's another one following it as well.
Oh, nice zander. So everybody's downsized. I might have to downsize. Whoa. There we go, look at that. Beauty.
A big perch.
Wow, that's a nice perch.
Baby rockfish.
Alright.
Pull the hook straight.
Perch.
There's obviously one or two around here, yeah?
Oh, he's an old boy, isn't he? He's lost all his colour.
Too much Tioga again.
That's a nice one.
That's a perch.
Yeah, boy.
Look at that, that's a perch and a half, isn't it? What a beauty. What did you have that on?
On the hoagie shrimp, 3-inch.
Very nice.
Fished Texas.
Ah. Very good.
Mouth on that.
Yeah.
Another little chunk on the Tioga again, on the 2-inch purple plum. Another little Zander on the Tioga again, 2-inch in purple plum. I'm fishing on the baby rockfish, wasn't getting anything. Back onto the 2-inch Tioga, and again, nailed.
Oh yeah, it would be. Again, nice chunk of fish.
Lovely. And what was that on?
It's on Tioga again.
Tioga. Nice. There we go. And that was on Tioga. That's 3.5-inch Tioga. Look at that. Right, back he goes, or she goes.
Yeah, it's a decent fish. Yeah, it's a croc.
What did you catch it on, Ian?
That was on a hoagie shrimp, 3-inch in purple something.
Well, we're just at about at the end of the session now. We've had a great day's fishing. Plenty of fish caught, couple of nice zander, some nice perch. Ian had that nice pike towards the end. So it's been a great day. Hope you've enjoyed the video.